Your soulmate is whispering your name right now. Don't ignore this sign. My beloved child, don't skip. If these words found you at this exact moment, there may be a reason your heart suddenly feels heavier than it did just a few moments ago. Listen carefully, because something huge is waiting for you, and what you are about to hear may explain emotions you have been unable to put into words. There is a quiet energy moving between two souls tonight, and whether you believe in signs, coincidences, or divine timing, something is changing behind the scenes. Your soulmate is whispering your name right now, not because they have all the answers, but because your presence has become impossible for them to silence inside their own heart. They have tried to distract themselves. They have tried to convince themselves that enough time has passed. They have tried to bury the memories beneath work, responsibilities, and everyday life, yet somehow your name keeps returning like a melody they cannot forget. This changes everything because the feelings they once believed would disappear have only grown stronger in the silence. The strange part is that this realization didn't happen all at once. It happened in tiny moments they never expected. They heard a song that reminded them of you. They passed a familiar place and suddenly remembered a conversation they thought they had forgotten forever. They smiled without understanding why, only to realize your face had quietly appeared in their mind again. Even during the busiest part of their day, your memory slipped through every wall they tried to build. Stay till the end because this is only the beginning of what is unfolding, and the next part reveals why your connection has become impossible for them to ignore. Late at night, when the world becomes quiet and there is no noise left to distract them, their heart begins speaking louder than their mind. They replay conversations they wish had ended differently. They remember the words they never said, the apology they kept postponing, the affection they hid behind pride, and the dreams they secretly imagined sharing with you. Every unanswered question echoes inside them until sleep no longer comes easily. They whisper your name into the silence, not expecting anyone to hear it, but hoping somehow your soul feels it. They wonder if you ever think about them during those quiet hours, or if they have become only a distant memory in your life. What happened next changed everything. The more they tried to forget you, the more life kept placing reminders directly in front of them. It felt as though every coincidence carried your energy. Every unexpected memory reopened feelings they thought were already healed. They began realizing that running from their emotions was no longer protecting them, it was only making the emptiness feel deeper. For the first time, they stopped blaming circumstances and started questioning the walls they had built around their own heart. That realization frightened them because it meant admitting one simple truth: losing you hurt far more than they ever allowed themselves to admit. Listen carefully because there is another layer to this story that almost nobody sees. Your soulmate has been fighting an invisible battle between fear and love. One part of them wants to reach out immediately. Another part fears rejection, misunderstanding, or arriving too late. They imagine what they would say if they suddenly found themselves standing in front of you. They rehearse conversations that never happen. They picture your reaction, your smile, your silence, your questions. Their greatest fear is not loving you, it is discovering that they waited so long that the opportunity slipped away forever. That fear follows them into every quiet moment. Sometimes they wonder if you somehow sense their emotions without either of you saying a single word. Have you suddenly thought about them for no reason? Have you felt an unexplained pull toward old memories? Have you caught yourself smiling after remembering something small that once seemed insignificant? These moments may feel ordinary, yet to them they carry extraordinary meaning. They have started believing that some connections refuse to disappear because they were never built only through conversations. They were built through understanding, shared emotions, silent hope, and a bond that continued growing even during separation. Don't skip, because something even more powerful is happening beneath the surface. Every day your soulmate becomes more aware that pretending not to care has become exhausting. They no longer find peace in denial. They no longer find comfort in pretending they have moved on completely. The mask they wear around other people grows heavier with each passing day. Friends see them smiling, yet few realize how often your name quietly crosses their mind. They laugh during conversations while secretly wondering what your life looks like now. They celebrate achievements while wishing they could tell you about them first. The distance has taught them something they never expected, that genuine love is measured not by constant closeness, but by the way someone continues living inside your heart even after silence stretches between you. Then comes the moment that changes their perspective forever. They stop asking whether these feelings are real and begin asking what they should do about them. That question follows them everywhere. It appears while driving, while eating, while working, while staring out a window at night. It refuses to disappear because deep inside they already know the answer. The answer has always been you. The only thing standing between them and the truth is the courage to let their heart speak louder than their fear. This changes everything because courage often arrives only after someone realizes they have far more to lose by remaining silent. Imagine them sitting alone for just a moment tonight. No distractions. No conversations. No noise. Only their heartbeat and the thoughts they have tried so hard to escape. In that silence, your name rises once again. Not forced. Not planned. Completely natural. They whisper it softly as though speaking to someone standing beside them. They wonder where you are. They hope you are safe. They hope life has been kind to you. Most of all, they hope there is still a place for them inside your heart if the right moment finally arrives. That quiet whisper carries more emotion than all the words they have hidden for so long. Stay till the end because the final realization is the one they can no longer ignore. Love was never the problem. Timing, fear, uncertainty, and pride became the obstacles. But obstacles cannot erase what the heart continues choosing every single day. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that some people enter your life to change it forever, and once that transformation happens, pretending nothing ever mattered becomes impossible. They are slowly becoming ready to stop hiding, stop running, and stop fighting emotions that have already proven stronger than fear itself. As this message comes to an end, remember that every meaningful connection is shaped by choices, honesty, and the willingness to communicate. Whether this story reminds you of someone special or simply encourages you to reflect on your own heart, let it inspire hope rather than certainty about another person's private thoughts. Sometimes the greatest sign is not a whisper from someone else, it is the courage to listen to your own heart with clarity, kindness, and patience. And perhaps, just perhaps, the next chapter of your story begins with that quiet decision to remain open to whatever genuine connection life brings next. Don't skip, because the story is becoming even more intense. As the night grows quieter, something inside your soulmate refuses to remain silent any longer. They have reached the point where pretending everything is normal no longer works. Every distraction fades, every conversation ends, every room becomes quiet, and somehow your name is still the last thought resting on their heart. Listen carefully, because what happened next changed everything. For the first time in a very long time, they stopped asking themselves how to forget you and started asking why life keeps leading them back to you. That single question opened a door they had spent so much time trying to keep closed, and once it opened, every hidden emotion rushed back with incredible force. They remember the smallest details that nobody else would ever notice. The sound of your laughter. The way you made ordinary moments feel unforgettable. The kindness you showed without expecting anything in return. Even your silence carried a comfort they have never found anywhere else. These memories no longer feel like fragments of the past, they feel alive, as if they are happening again in the present. The more they remember, the clearer it becomes that what they felt for you was never temporary. It became part of who they are, whether they wanted to admit it or not. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate has begun noticing signs that seem impossible to explain. They wake up after dreaming about you only to hear your favorite song later that same day. They think of reaching out, and moments later something reminds them of your smile. They keep telling themselves these are only coincidences, yet the pattern continues until ignoring it becomes harder than believing it. Every unexpected reminder feels like life gently asking one question they cannot answer. What if this connection was never truly over? There is another secret they have never shared with anyone. They have imagined meeting you again more times than they could ever count. They picture that first moment of eye contact, wondering whether words would even be necessary. They imagine the silence before the conversation begins, the emotions hidden behind nervous smiles, and the realization that neither of you is the same person you once were. Time has changed both of you, yet their heart keeps whispering that some feelings only become stronger after surviving distance. That realization both comforts and terrifies them because it means they can no longer pretend they have completely moved on. Listen carefully, because their greatest struggle is no longer deciding whether they love you. Deep inside, that answer has become obvious. Their greatest struggle is believing they deserve another chance. They replay every mistake they made, every opportunity they missed, every moment pride became louder than honesty. Some nights they wish they could go back and rewrite those chapters completely. But life only moves forward, and now they understand that healing begins not by changing the past, but by finding the courage to face the future with an open heart. Then something unexpected begins happening inside them. Fear slowly starts losing its power. The walls they built to protect themselves begin to crack one piece at a time. Instead of running from their emotions, they begin listening to them. Instead of convincing themselves to stay silent, they start imagining what honesty might actually feel like. It is not an easy transformation. Every step forward is met with doubt, uncertainty, and questions that seem impossible to answer. Yet despite all of that, one truth continues shining brighter every single day. You remain the person their heart cannot stop choosing. Don't skip, because the next moment could change everything. Somewhere, while you are living your own life, growing through your own experiences, your soulmate is quietly becoming the person they once needed to be. They are learning lessons that only separation could teach. They are discovering that love without honesty cannot survive, and honesty without courage can never create the future they secretly dream about. Every challenge they face now is slowly preparing them to become stronger, wiser, and more emotionally open than they have ever been before. As dawn slowly approaches, they close their eyes for one final moment before sleep. Once again, your name quietly escapes their lips, not out of desperation, but out of hope. Hope that life still has one more chapter waiting to be written. Hope that unfinished conversations can one day become healing conversations. Hope that if two hearts are truly meant to reconnect, they will do so through genuine choice, mutual understanding, and the courage to speak honestly. And as that quiet whisper fades into the night, one thought remains stronger than every fear they once carried. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this story has not happened yet, and the next chapter is closer than either of you ever imagined. My beloved child, don't skip, because the silence surrounding this connection is about to reveal something neither of you expected. Listen carefully. There are moments in life when nothing appears to be changing on the outside, yet beneath the surface everything is quietly shifting into place. Your soulmate can feel that change even if they cannot fully explain it. Every morning they wake with the same question resting on their heart, and every evening they fall asleep with your name echoing through their thoughts once again. They have reached the point where denying their emotions no longer brings peace. Instead, every attempt to move away from the connection somehow leads them back to the very memories they have been trying so hard to escape. What happened next changed everything. They found themselves smiling at memories that once made them cry. Instead of pushing those memories away, they allowed themselves to sit with them for the first time. They remembered the little things that most people would overlook, the conversations that lasted longer than planned, the laughter that arrived without effort, the quiet moments that never needed words to feel meaningful. Suddenly they realized those moments had become the foundation of something much deeper than they had ever understood. Stay till the end, because this realization became the beginning of an emotional awakening they never expected to experience. As the days passed, their heart became impossible to ignore. Every decision seemed to carry a quiet reminder of you. Every path they considered somehow led back to the same unanswered question: what if the greatest mistake wasn't loving them, but believing I had to hide it? That question followed them everywhere. It appeared during long drives, peaceful evenings, and those restless nights when the world seemed asleep except for their own thoughts. The more they searched for an answer, the more they discovered that love does not disappear simply because time has passed. Sometimes it waits patiently until fear finally grows tired of standing in its way. Listen carefully, because something huge is waiting for you in this story. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that true connection is not measured by how often two people speak, but by how deeply they continue to impact one another's lives even through distance. That realization fills them with equal parts hope and uncertainty. Hope, because their feelings remain alive. Uncertainty, because they wonder whether your heart has changed in ways they cannot see. They know they cannot rewrite yesterday, but they also know tomorrow has not been written yet. That thought alone has become the quiet light guiding them through their darkest moments. There are nights when they imagine what they would say if life offered one more honest conversation. They picture themselves setting pride aside completely. No excuses. No pretending. No hiding behind fear. Just honesty. They imagine telling you how much they learned from the silence, how the distance forced them to grow, and how every lesson ultimately led them back to appreciating what they once took for granted. They no longer dream of perfect words. They simply hope for a genuine chance to speak from the heart. Don't skip, because another unexpected change is taking place inside them. The version of themselves that once feared vulnerability is slowly disappearing. In its place stands someone who understands that real strength is not found in hiding emotions but in expressing them with sincerity and respect. They are discovering that love is not about controlling outcomes or predicting the future. It is about showing up with honesty, accepting uncertainty, and trusting that meaningful connections deserve kindness regardless of where the journey leads. As another quiet night settles over the world, they whisper your name one more time. Not because they expect an answer to appear from the darkness, but because saying your name reminds them of the person they are becoming. It reminds them to remain hopeful without forcing answers, patient without giving up, and grateful for every lesson this connection has brought into their life. They close their eyes carrying one final thought close to their heart. Perhaps the next chapter will not begin with dramatic words or grand gestures, but with one small act of courage that changes everything. And somewhere beyond tonight's silence, that moment may already be finding its way toward both of you. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because the next chapter begins at the exact moment your soulmate finally stops running from the truth hidden inside their own heart. For so long they believed that time alone would erase every emotion, but instead, time became the very thing that made those feelings impossible to ignore. Every sunrise brought another opportunity to forget, yet every sunset ended with your memory returning even stronger than before. Something huge is waiting for you in this story, because what they discovered during one quiet night completely changed the direction of their heart. They realized that some people leave footprints so deep within the soul that no amount of distance can erase them. That realization did not bring instant answers, but it brought something even more powerful, the courage to stop pretending. The silence around them suddenly felt different. It was no longer empty. It became a place where every hidden emotion finally had room to breathe. They sat alone, looking through old memories stored deep within their heart, remembering conversations that once seemed ordinary but now carried extraordinary meaning. They remembered promises that were never spoken aloud but somehow understood between two hearts. They realized that even after all this time, your kindness continued to inspire the choices they made every single day. Without realizing it, you had become part of the person they were still growing into, and that truth overwhelmed them in ways they never expected. Stay till the end because what happened next changed everything. A strange sense of peace slowly replaced the fear they had carried for so long. Instead of asking, "What if it's too late?" they began asking, "What if honesty is the only path left?" That single shift transformed the way they viewed this connection. They understood that love cannot flourish where fear controls every decision. They finally admitted that protecting themselves had also kept them from expressing the deepest feelings living inside their heart. The walls they spent years building suddenly felt heavier than the emotions they had been trying to hide. Listen carefully, because another unforgettable realization is unfolding. They began noticing how every important lesson in their life somehow pointed back toward emotional honesty. Every disappointment taught patience. Every setback taught resilience. Every lonely night taught gratitude for the moments they once overlooked. Slowly they understood that this journey was never only about finding another person, it was also about becoming someone capable of loving with maturity, compassion, and truth. That discovery filled them with hope they had not felt in a very long time. There are still moments when uncertainty whispers louder than confidence. They wonder whether you have changed. They wonder whether life has taken you down entirely different paths. They wonder whether your heart still remembers the connection that once felt impossible to explain. These questions remain unanswered, yet something inside them refuses to surrender to fear anymore. They have learned that genuine affection is not measured by certainty about the future but by the willingness to approach life with sincerity, respect, and an open heart. That quiet wisdom has become their greatest source of strength. Don't skip, because the most emotional moment of this chapter is still ahead. One evening they found themselves speaking softly into the silence, not expecting anyone to hear them. They simply thanked life for every lesson this connection had brought into their world. They expressed gratitude for the happiness, the challenges, the growth, and even the heartbreak that shaped them into someone stronger than before. As they finished those quiet words, they felt something they had not experienced in years, a deep sense of peace. It wasn't the certainty that everything would happen exactly as they imagined. It was the comfort of knowing they no longer needed to hide from their own heart. As the stars filled the night sky, they made one silent promise to themselves. If life ever created another opportunity for an honest conversation, they would not allow fear to speak louder than truth again. They would choose kindness over pride, understanding over assumptions, and courage over silence. They knew they could not control another person's choices, but they could choose to become the most genuine version of themselves. And perhaps that was the greatest transformation of all. The chapter closes with one final thought lingering in the stillness of the night. Sometimes the strongest connections are not defined by perfect timing, but by the quiet courage to meet whatever comes next with honesty, hope, and an open heart. And somewhere beyond this moment, a new beginning may already be waiting to unfold. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay with me until the very end, because this is where the story finds its true meaning. Every chapter has led to this moment. Not to prove that anyone can know another person's heart with certainty, but to remind you that genuine love is built through honesty, patience, and the courage to grow. After all the silence, the questions, the late-night memories, and the quiet whispers, one truth becomes impossible to ignore: the greatest transformation did not happen around them, it happened within them. They no longer wanted to live behind fear. They no longer wanted old regrets to decide the future. Instead, they chose to move forward with an open heart, ready to face whatever came next with sincerity and hope. What happened next changed everything. One peaceful morning, they looked in the mirror and realized they were no longer the same person who had once hidden every feeling. The pain that once weighed them down had become wisdom. The distance that once felt unbearable had taught them compassion. The silence that once seemed endless had shown them the value of honest communication. They understood that every difficult moment had quietly prepared them for a future where love would no longer be driven by fear, but by respect, understanding, and emotional maturity. Something huge was waiting for them all along, not a miracle appearing overnight, but the quiet strength to become the person they were always meant to be. Listen carefully, because this is the heart of the story. Whether life eventually brings two people back together or leads them toward new beginnings, the most meaningful relationships are built through mutual choice, trust, and kindness. Your soulmate finally accepted that real love cannot be forced, predicted, or controlled. It grows when two people are willing to meet each other with honesty, listen without judgment, forgive when possible, and appreciate one another for who they truly are. That realization lifted a burden they had carried for far too long, replacing fear with peace and uncertainty with quiet confidence. As the sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, they whispered one final prayer of gratitude. They thanked life for every lesson, every memory, every smile, every tear, and every opportunity to become a better version of themselves. They no longer wished to rewrite the past because they understood that every chapter had shaped them into someone capable of loving more deeply than ever before. Instead of holding tightly to what they could not control, they chose to welcome the future with faith, courage, and an open heart. In that moment, they discovered that hope is strongest when it is paired with acceptance and genuine respect for whatever tomorrow may bring. And perhaps, somewhere beyond this very moment, another heart is also learning those same lessons. Perhaps two people who have grown through distance will one day recognize each other with new understanding. Or perhaps each will carry these lessons into the next beautiful chapter of life. Either way, the ending is not one of loss, it is one of growth, healing, and possibility. The whispers that once echoed through the night have become quiet reminders to live honestly, love sincerely, and never stop becoming the person your heart is calling you to be. So if this story touched your heart, let it inspire you to cherish the people who matter, to speak with kindness, and to embrace every new day with hope instead of fear. Every sunrise offers another chance to choose compassion. Every conversation offers another chance to build understanding. Every ending quietly carries the seed of a new beginning. The greatest sign was never simply a whisper in the night, it was the courage to let love inspire growth, healing, and authenticity. And as this chapter closes, remember this: your brightest days are not behind you. They are still waiting, one honest step at a time, just beyond the horizon. The story ends here, but hope continues, and every new day is an invitation to write a beautiful chapter of your own.